This is Ferdinand Marcos in the autocratic Filipino regime. Ferdinand Marcos had the right to declare martial law under the rights of the Constitution of 1935, but he had the responsibility to improve and put order to the Philippines for 20 years of the corrupt and great regime. Ferdinand Marcos was born on September 11, 1917, in Sorata, Philippines, then died September 28, 1989. He studied at the University of Philippines and ran for the Philippine House of Representatives and Senate. Ferdinand Marcos took office as president on December 30, 1965. In his regime, he had the rights from the Constitution to declare martial law. He improved health, he improved transportation, and he improved finance. He made the first international airport in Southeast Asia. Marcos is responsible for the hundreds of arrests and murders. Declaration of martial law has impact on current Philippine and international government by the funds made in his term, jailing political opponents and gaining absolute power. The people power put an end to the Marcos regime on the night of February 22, 1986. Events that led up to martial law, that was on September 21, 1972, is communist activities such as killing and attacking government officials.
As of the 21st of this month, I signed Proclamation number 1081, placing the entire Philippines under martial law.
Tatay, what do you know about President Marcos sa Philippines?
Siya naging Pangulo ng Pilipinas. Siya nagbaba ng Brazil. At siya naging Prime Minister ng Pilipinas. Kaya lahat ay hawak niya ang batas ng Pilipinas. Siya ang nagpatakbo, inalis niya sa mga senador, mga congressman, ang itinala niya kinatawan ng Laguna at sa mayor. Yung mga kalaban para
Pope John Paul II was the part of the end of martial law. On January 1981, the Philippines was a Catholic nation. Marcos wanted to get ready for the Pope's arrival. After martial law, Marcos and U.S. President Ronald Reagan met at Washington, D.C., March 19, 1989, with lots of hospitality and friendship. The United States and and the Philippines were close allies. Their relationship began during the Vietnam War, during Marcos's first term, as he brought his military to support the United States.
Revolutionary March para po sa kanilang mahal na Pangulo.
Mr. President, Mrs. Marcos, it gives me special pleasure to welcome you to the United States. Mrs. Reagan and I have been long looking forward to returning the hospitality you showed us on our 1969 visit to your country. Our two peoples enjoy a close friendship, one forged in shared history and common ideals.
Reagan, Mrs. Reagan, members of the cabinet, distinguished guests, my friends. On behalf of the 50 million people of the Philippines, Mrs. Marcos and I express our gratitude for your warm welcome to Washington and to the United States of America. That as I have said in many a speech before my own people and before the world, fate and destiny has decreed that the United States of America be the trustee of modern civilization against the threat of a possible second dark ages. And America cannot fail. Therefore, we, the Filipino people, come and bring to you a prayer that God and His divine providence may grant you guidance, strengthen both your heart and hand so that that hand may be strong on the lever of power and save our humanity.
When Senator Aquino Jr. was shot on August 21st, 1983, it sparked a revolution. Marcos was thought of ordering the killing of Aquino, but denied it and blamed the communists. Ferdinand Marcos declared the snap presidential election, early presidential elections, on 1986, 3 years after the assassination of Senator Aquino Jr., and Marcos's health was declining.
I understand the opposition has been asking for an election. In answer to their request, I announce that I am ready to call a snap election.
Senator Aquino's wife, Corazon Aquino, was Marcos's main opponent in the presidential election. Corazon Aquino had no political experience, but was thought as a great leader. The campaign was on, but on February 7th, 1986, results were in. Marcos won the election, but people saw massive voting fraud against Marcos. A few days later, a huge protest on Manila EDSA Street on February 22, 1986, the protesters wanted Marcos to resign and leave the country. Supporters wore yellow, which was Cory Aquino's favorite color. Marcos's military brought tanks and armed men to push away from the Malacanang Palace. The Cardinal of the Philippines, Sin, supported the people power. Cardinal Sin also sent nuns to pray for them. The Secretary of Education of the Philippines today asked that the people power revolution should be about freedom, democracy, and unity, which we should always protect and cherish. Corazon Aquino was actually at Cebu during the EDSA revolution, but the protest was supposed to support her and put her to presidency, which worked. The people power needed Marcos to leave due to his corrupt capitalist power. He was forced to leave due to the widespread protests against him.
As revolutions go, this had its fair share of bullets. A climax in the night outside the gates of Mr. Marcos's sanctuary, Malacanang. The name itself symbolizing one of the cruelest, most corrupt regimes of modern Asia.
Once Cory Aquino was put to power, she changed the constitution. Still, martial law is allowed in the 1986 Constitution, Article 7, Section 18.
The citadel fell. His opponents scrambled over the gates. Were the bullets aimed at people or into the air? No one knew. Well, this is it. It's just been confirmed that Mr. Marcos has indeed left, and there's absolute chaos outside his palace, with heavy shooting, machine gun fire, and people panicking all over the place. It was just 12 hours since Mrs. Aquino had herself sworn in as president. She made it by election support and the belated backing of mutinous army generals.
I, Corazon Cojuangco Aquino, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully and conscientiously fulfill my duties as President of the Philippines.
There are many things we do not want about the world. Let us not just mourn them. Let us change them.